Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make one of another series of non-baking videos. It's just occasional, from time to time I'm going to put these up. So I'm making this one today, but I won't post it for a couple of weeks probably. And it's going to be my version of beef stroganoff, which is very, very tasty and it's very quick to make. Now it uses beef, and the best cut of beef you can get is the best, because that is what allows you to make it quickly. If you use a cheaper cut of beef that takes a longer time to cook, then you're going to need longer to do it basically, but it will still taste good. So it's all done on the stove top, and as I said, this is my version. I've seen other versions. Some use sour cream and double cream. Some use some beef stock and some sour cream. Some use creme fraiche and sour cream. Some use, any combination of these things basically. And some also put a little bit of alcohol in, which I don't think is necessary. So I'll go on to my ingredients, and what I have here is 500 grams of beef fillet basically. I actually have a little bit of sirloin steak in there as well, and I've cut that into shreds like that, and they're no more than a centimetre thick, I wouldn't think. So they're going to be fried off very, very quickly and then set to one side. I have so that's 500 grams, which works out at about 1 pound 3 ounces. I have 400 grams, which is 14 ounces of chopped mushrooms, and I'm using chestnut mushrooms. And I should say that the ratio of meat to mushrooms and onions is entirely up to you. You can swap them about. I like rather more mushrooms than a lot of recipes. It fills out the dish that little bit more, I think. I have 230 grams of sliced onion, which is about 8 ounces. Then I have 1.5 tablespoons, 22 millilitres of Dijon mustard. I'm going to use 240 millilitres, 1 cup of creme fraiche, 240 millilitres, 1 cup of beef stock, and I just used OXO cubes in hot water to make my beef stock. That's good enough for this. Then I'm going to use salt and pepper. I have a tablespoon of butter, which is 14 grams, and I'm going to use about a tablespoon of oil. I may use more oil later as well, but that's all it is to the ingredients. So the first thing I'm going to do is to, what I would call, flash fry the beef. Fry it on one side for a minute, turn it over, fry it for about 30 seconds on the other side, then take it off and put it back into the bowl. So I'm going to heat my oil and my butter. And you can do this in a large frying pan. I'm doing it in my saucier because I like to use this. And so I'm going to fry my meat in 2 batches, but you can do it in one go in a larger frying pan if you want to. And so I'm going to put about half of the meat into the pan, and I'm just going to fry that for a minute on the one side. And then I'm going to turn it over and fry it on the other side for about 30 seconds. And that's good enough, so I'm going to just drain that off and put it back into a clean bowl. And do the same with the remainder of the meat. So with the meat cooked, I'm going to drain off that, and that juice which is left I'm going to pour into a bowl, and as it cools down and the fat separates, I'll take the fat off, and then I'm going to put the juice back into the sauce before I finish cooking everything. So I've put a little bit of oil into the pan again, and I'm now going to sweat off the onions until they've softened, and that's going to take 3 or 4 minutes. But I don't want them to brown, I just want them to soften basically. The onions are turning translucent and they've softened quite a bit, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my mushrooms. And I'm going to cook those on a medium low heat with the onions, and they will start to release some liquid as well, and they will shrink in size. So as you can see, the mushrooms have released quite a bit of liquid, and I'm just going to cook them until that liquid is almost cooked off. So the liquid has almost cooked off, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my mustard. I'm going to stir that around. It gives off a lovely aroma. And then I'm going to add in my stock. And I'm going to add in my creme fraiche. And I'm going to stir that around until it's all incorporated, and I'll add in the juices from the beef that was fried off. And then I'm going to simply cook that down until the sauce is the consistency and the amount of sauce that I want. You can have as much or as little sauce as you want with this. I like quite a lot, so that when I serve it on my plate of rice or pasta, the sauce runs across the plate into the rice or pasta. So at this stage I will also add some pepper and some salt, and then I'll taste it in a minute or so just to see whether it needs adjusting. I think maybe just a little bit more salt. And I'm just going to let that cook down, and then when it's the right consistency for my preference, I'm going to add my beef in, and that simply has to be warmed through, then it's ready to serve. My sauce is now cooked through and reduced down to about the amount that I want, so I'm going to put my beef in, and I'm simply going to cook that for about a minute just to heat it through. Then I'm going to turn the heat off. So I've turned the heat off, and I'm going to cover that and leave it while I prepare the rest of my dinner. And actually that's all there is to making this recipe. It's ready to eat now, and you can make the sauce as thick or as thin as you like and have as much as or as little as you like. I should mention that if you decide you want to use soured cream in the recipe, it must not be added by itself. You must add something like double cream into the mushroom mixture and stir that around, and once that's incorporated, then add the sour cream. If you add the sour cream first, it will simply curdle and it won't be good. But as I said, I'm using creme fraiche, and that goes in straight away, and that works fine. So I'll come back when I'm ready to have a taste of this. So now I have my beef stroganoff ready to taste, and this is what it looks like, and I've just put it with some vegetables and some rice. So I'll have a taste of it. The sauce has that sort of tanginess to it, but also a slight sweetness to it. Very, very good. The meat is so tender, it's unbelievable. I've already tasted the vegetables, you know, the mushrooms and such like. So this is very simple to make, and it's very, very tasty. As I said before, you can put it with rice or with mashed potato even, or pasta, whatever you want. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give me a thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.